Hey, welcome to the Crush Method. And we are having coffee in the Crush Method today with Dane Short, my friend from Zymbol Jewelry. And I'm so excited that you guys are here. Oh, yes. Awesome. Okay. So we've got good tech going. Step one, check.
That's it. So his biggest hurdle.
Yes, the biggest hurdle. I had been using another provider for a while doing these coffee with Kaufman's, and I had to say bye-bye because we had some real techie stuff. So that's a huge, huge advantage because it means that you get to ask your questions live in real time, and it's always a whole lot more fun when we do that. So, all right, here's how this is going to roll. We're going to just have an open conversation, and I'm going to interview Dane, and we're going to get to know this dude a whole lot better and hear his story. And then as you have questions, just drop them in the comments and feel free to interact. Give us the love, give us the laughs, give us the anger if we go there. I don't think we're going to go there, but maybe we might. But just let's participate and really learn something cool today. All right. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. So Dane, we met because we had neighboring vendor tables. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Absolutely. Up in Dallas.
Up in Dallas, right? So you're in Austin. Can you just give us just a little quick synopsis, like who the heck are you and why would you come talk to a bunch of coaches?
Yeah. So my name's Dane Shore. I'm originally from actually Durango, Colorado. So to be in Austin is a little bit of a stretch, but I think I don't know how many of your peeps are from Texas, but Texas and Colorado have a really good relationship going on. So been down here for about 10 years, and I own a company called Zymbol Jewelry, and what Zymbol is it's a line of inspirational jewelry, and it's actually based around this one design right here. And this design contains every letter of the alphabet and every number hidden within it. It was originally a random doodle that my lovely mother, Sally Short, created one day for no reason at all. She wrote down the phrase, "Love is all you need." But what she did is she stacked each letter on top of the next, and then she put a peace sign on top. So her doodle ended up creating this really cool design. She thought to herself, you know what, I'm going to send this off to be cast as a pendant for myself, a pendant that she could wear around that represented love is all you need. So she did that. And when it came back, my sister and I were in visiting from college, and she was wearing it. She'd been talking about it over the phone, and we saw it. We're like, oh, that's actually really cool. She had taken it off later that evening, and sitting on the table sideways, my sister and I saw it like this. And we noticed that there was a K popping out of it. And since there's no K in the phrase, love is all you need, it got us curious and motivated us to look for more letters. And as a family, we ended up sitting down, and from her exact doodle, we uncovered every letter of the alphabet, as well as every number, all hidden in plain sight within it, which was super random. But what we decided to do with it was develop this line of jewelry. And the whole concept is when you wear or gift a Zymbol, it can mean or represent literally any message that you want because it contains every letter. So every day that I put my Zymbol on, I think about what message do I want today? So maybe that's something that I'm grateful for in the morning, my intention, something that I'm focused on. And when I put it on, I set the message, and then throughout the day, it serves as a constant reminder. So, I also have a bracelet on. When I'm down typing, getting beat up by the day, and I look down and I'm like, oh, today this means, yeah, you got it. Persistence to me today, or whatever that message is. So it's this daily inspiration that you wear, and the meaning can change and evolve with you. And it's really cool that if you're gifting it, each Zymbol comes with this gift card. So on the inside, you fill out who the Zymbol's to and from, and then using our alphabet, you trace and spell out any message. So when the person receives it, they know what you're gifting them, but nobody else will because it's hidden in plain sight within it.
Oh my gosh. So hopefully, folks, you can see why when I saw this amazing concept, I'll be totally real, Dane. When I first saw your display, I was like, sparkly things. Right?
That's
you do
okay.
a
That's
really
fair.
wonderful vendor table. You really do. It's very attractive.
I appreciate that.
But I really did fall in love with this idea of a message in plain sight and this kind of a totem reminder of whatever it is that you need to remind yourself that you are attracting, remind yourself to be mindful of. It dovetails so nicely with coaching and the practice of coaching, because so much of coaching is really all about bringing attention to ideas and bringing intention into our lives. And that's so much of what this whole thing is about. So tell me a little bit about your company. So she did this doodle years ago, and then how did it become a jewelry company? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the story that I told you when we went and found that alphabet, the whole thing came together. I was actually in my senior year getting my degree in marketing. And this was over Thanksgiving break. So the synchronicity of it was very cool. I went back to school, and I obviously have been studying marketing. I'd made a few connections with some professors over the last couple of years, and I told them what happened. And I just kind of was thinking like, hey, this is pretty cool. Like, I was about to graduate and get a job either marketing somebody else's product, or since this was just kind of gifted to our family, I could actually start my own company and get out there and like see if this is a concept that would resonate with people. So wrote a business plan with the help of some of my professors, and ended up getting some funding. And the day I graduated, I literally launched the company, which was super cool. I know not many people are able to graduate and then work in the field that they've just studied immediately. So super fortunate that I was in that situation. However, I soon found out that there is a massive discrepancy between the classroom and the real world. This business plan that I wrote was super based out of a textbook, right? I had for the last couple of years been writing these hypothetical business plans for hypothetical companies, and most importantly, spending hypothetical money. So when I wrote out like, hey, we're gonna run this ad in this magazine, and X amount of people see it, so this many people will statistically purchase. Like, honestly, none of that worked out at all. And
that's
6
so
months.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just the real world, right?
Hypothetical money, hypothetical results, very different from actual results and outcomes.
Yeah, a real product with real money. Things change real quick. So honestly, like 6 months into the business, because when I got funding for it, it's like, listen, I already had a marketing plan. Like, I knew what I was going to do, and none of them really did anything. So I kind of had to figure out a way to like start getting the product out there on limited funds. So what we started doing, and this ties into how we met, is doing vendor shows. Like, I started setting up at every little vendor show that I could do, whether it was like a $25 show, because we have a story-driven product, and I needed to get out in front of people and tell that story to see if they were actually going to buy it. And something actually really cool happened at like the second show that I did. It was down here in Austin. I was just setting up, so I kind of had stuff everywhere. It didn't look as beautiful as how you saw it. And this couple came up, and I had my banner up with the big Zymbol, and they were like, what is this design? So I proceeded to tell them the story, and like halfway through, I could see that the lady was tearing up. And I kind of stopped, and I was like, did I say something to offend you? And she was like, no. I think she had just had something happen with her mom, and she was just really touched by the story. So I proceeded to finish it out. They ended up buying each other a bracelet, which was really cute. And then as they were leaving, the guy ran back to me and was like, hey, would you and your family mind if we got this design tattooed? And that had never crossed my mind. And I was
whoa.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That'd be awesome. Just if you do, send me a picture. And I gave him my card. They came back an hour and a half later. This was downtown in Austin, and she had it on her neck and he had it on his shoulders. Like, they went and got it at 11 in the morning on 6th Street in Austin, just straight up tattooed it, which was mind blowing, right?
That is completely mind blowing. It was in Austin, so I can believe that they were able to walk in and get a tattoo in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you that confidence, like, okay, this resonates. And the cool thing about that, like, that is a doodle that my mom did with the intention of love is all you need. I wear mine with whatever my intention is or whatever I'm doing. They now have this tattooed on their body. It has nothing to do with my mom's doodle in a sense, right? Like, it's not about, it's their message now, and they're connected through that. And a lot of people do buy Zymbol as a way to stay connected. We've had a lot of members of the military will buy it for whoever's overseas, and then the person that's back home. And every time they talk, they have their Zymbol, you know, whether the guy has it as a keychain, and they set a message. So every week when they put it on, it's a message that only those two know about. And I think that really resonated with the way that those guys tattooed it. And I had posted the tattoo picture, and to date now, we've had over 80 people get Zymbol tattoos. And all of these just random people, some of them, they bought it online or got it as a gift, like didn't even know the original creation story of how it was made. So it's really been cool to kind of build, you know, our intention and our mission is to impact people's lives in a positive way through Zymbol, and to see it take on a life of its own and get to the point of people tattooing it. And I'm sure we'll get into a lot of the other stories of the different people and how they wear it. You know, it's really it's a tool, right? It's not a piece of jewelry. It's a tool that people can use to inspire their lives.
I think that's what definitely appealed to me, right? Apart from, like, first you attracted me with the sparkly, right?
Gotta have that part.
This is a dude who does vendor tables really, really well. Because it definitely caught my eye and kind of disrupted me and caught attention. But it really was the utility of it that was a huge factor for me. And, like, personally, I have this bracelet that I wear. And then if I'm feeling pretty fancy, my hubby got me one that's got, I think it's like quartz and like little pumice, like lava stones in there as well. And then it's kind of a choker type necklace. I should have worn it today. Darn, I forgot.
Next time.
But the pendant sits just about there. And so I'll wear it often when I'm going to, you know, personal development seminars and things like that. And I always get a ton of questions about, hey, that's a beautiful necklace, but, like, what is that?
Totally. It is definitely a conversation piece, just because, I mean, simply the way it looks, you know, I mean, you're wearing it and people are attracted to it because the design, one of the reasons she got it cast in the first place is that the design came out so symmetrical. And, you know, and like I said, it's a conversation piece, and it's cool. Like, we have this one lady who wrote in saying that, like, her clients always ask her about it. So she's in sales. And every time that she sees them, that's the first question they ask. Like, so what's your Zymbol say today? What's your Zymbol say today? And it's just like this conversation opener, and she's able to actually open up about her personal life a little bit and telling them, you know, this is what it is, but this is what it means to me. So that's really been the best part of the business, is kind of growing this community of people who are all united through wearing the exact same design, but each individual has their own unique message hidden within it. So we're just getting started too, which is the fun part.
I so love this. So I'm really curious, for those that are watching, like, you know, whether you do a Zymbol or not a Zymbol, if you were to have a word that you wanted to be reminded of every single day. I know a lot of people choose a word for the new year. You know, Dane, you do your word every day, right? Like you said a new word every day.
I do.
So just drop in the comments, if you guys don't mind, like, what are some of the words that really inspire you, motivate you, keep you on track? And I'll tell you, one of my words is actually relentless.
I love that.
You know, relentless, because I realized towards the end of this last year, I did a big assessment of just everything that's gone on in the last couple of years. And I want to come back, Dane, to, you know, your journey in business as well, because I think that that's going to be something that, you know, whether you're in a coaching business or in your line of business, what we're selling is ideas, right?
Absolutely.
We're selling ideas, we're selling story, we're selling a process, and we're selling that people should be committed to their goals, and we're giving them mechanisms. So that, like, I know it might seem like coaching such a different product from jewelry, but why I was so excited to invite you here into the Crush Method is that I actually see that the problem we solve is the same.
It is. Yes. I couldn't agree more.
So Steve, and, you know, by the way, coaches, if you don't have your clients already doing this, something to establish really early on is just ask them, like, your ideal self. What's one word that would describe your ideal self, either as you are or as you aspire to be? That's such a powerful exercise, because I think sometimes we really get stuck in like our deficiency and what we're not doing right and how we're getting stuck in all that kind of thing. And, you know, that's an exercise that I do with my clients really early on and revisit pretty often, because the words change, right?
Yeah, it changes with you. Plus, I mean, and our minds are wired to go to the negative, right? That's like the default is seeing the bad in the situation and everything. So having that word or that phrase to always come back to, and then when you reassess, some people will do Zymbol and it'll always be the same message, or it could be every week or quarterly or yearly or whatever. Like it's kind of what the individual needs in regards to staying motivated and staying focused on whatever the situation is at hand. And that's the beauty of it too. Like on a daily basis, you'll see people wearing word jewelry, a single meaning piece that says faith, hope, love, friends, and that's fine. But why limit yourself to one meaning, right? There's unlimited possibilities when you have a concept like Zymbol to really be able to adapt to the individual.
Totally, totally. And, you know, I think there's even different times of the day that I change up my words, because my word that I chose for the year is relentless. Because like I said, I did this wholesale review of everything that's happened in the last couple of years as I've shifted into entrepreneurship. I've shifted into being a platinum blonde. I've shifted into being invest health of my life, right? And doing a lot of that shifting. And I identified that, you know, I was experiencing a lot of burnout, and I was experiencing a lot of like overwhelm because there was just so much change going on. Yeah. And I realized I needed to streamline and simplify and just be relentless, like just keep going.
I'll share this one reminded me of relentless. I traced it out a while ago. I was at a conference when we were coming up, and it's present, inspired, and unstoppable. It was just like 3 words to me. That's like, I'm going to be present, I'm inspired in what I'm doing, and I'm unstoppable, which, you know, is a synonym of being relentless. So
I love that. The versatility of it, the lack of batteries is nice.
Yes.
And, you know, the ability to change it to be whatever you need it to be is just crazy, crazy powerful. So, Dane, I want to ask you some more questions. You game?
I'm game. Yeah, let's continue on the journey.
Let's continue on the journey. So you discovered that there was a huge, I think about business a lot, like in terms of being the scientific method, where you go in with a hypothesis, which it sounds like you did. You know, you came out of college, you had all of this academic knowledge about what hypothetically was supposed to happen with your business.
An expensive hypothesis.
An expensive hypothesis that was rooted in very, reasonable reasoning.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it.
Right. But what makes the scientific method is actually the experimental part, and where we get into action with the hypothesis to test the validity of that hypothesis. We are either going to disprove the hypothesis, or we're going to accept that hypothesis for now until we come up with a new hypothesis that may disprove the original one. So it's basically this iterative experience. So I'm just curious, like, how much does that scientific method way of looking at business building resonate with you?
I mean, I've actually never thought about it that way, but as you're speaking, it's just, it's 100% true. I mean, it's getting out there in the front lines and rolling up your sleeves and like, hypothetically, this is going to work because this is what the stats say, or this is what the textbook says. And when it doesn't work, like, you need to come up with a new method and then get out there and try it. And, you know, we've done that so many times. I mean, I've really been failing my way to the top. Just so many different things that we've thrown at the wall that haven't stuck, from starting off with the shows. And then a next logical step would be, hey, this is cool, people like it, let's put it in stores, right? So we kind of geared up on this whole wholesale push and going up to the Dallas Market Centers and Atlanta and the big wholesale shows. And what we found there in retail packaging, I mean, it's a whole different thing. The buyers there loved it, and we were writing purchase orders. But when it went back to like a big store that had a lot of employees, like $10 an hour employees, or they had a few chains, like the story wasn't getting across, right? And in the boutiques where that store owner was in there and there's only 1 or 2 other employees, they're telling the story. And to this day, they still sell Zymbol really well, but it was a tough lesson, another scientific journey here on saying, well, let's go wholesale because that's what you do to get the distribution. And then in that case, for the most part, didn't necessarily work. So we had to come up with another way of going, and that's what led us to QVC, where we eventually went on and became a bestseller over the last 5 years. And
so just in case people don't know what QVC is, can you just educate folks, because we have an international audience, so you might lose some people with that one. So what is it?
Yeah, it's a home shopping network. There is a thing called Home Shopping Network, but QVC is you go on TV. So they're located in Philadelphia, and you go on and sell your product, and it's live on TV. And they are as big as Walmart in regards to home shopping. I mean, they are a massive company. So it took me a year just to get a meeting with them. And then once you get the meeting, you fly up to Philadelphia. It's almost like a Shark Tank style thing. You go in and they have 8 buyers, and they put you on the other side of the table and you pitch the product. They fortunately liked what we had and thought it was cool. Get a contract to sell on QVC. The funny thing, I don't think a lot of people that know about QVC don't know how it works. They will, if they want to put us on in the fourth quarter for gifts, because we're a gift item, they'll write that purchase order in July, let's say. And let's say it's 10,000 Zymbol pendants. You get the purchase order in July to ship in October, but they don't actually pay you a cent until you sell the product in December. So as a company, especially a small startup company, there's this huge lag of like, well, we have to manufacture 10,000 pendants. We have to put it together with their guidelines, which is like a 93-page manual. They actually fly somebody to wherever you're warehousing to like cut the pallets open and then check 25% of the order. So like,
wow.
If we say it's an 18-inch chain, there's a guy that flies in and cuts open 25% and measures if it's a quarter of an inch too short or long, they can reject the entire order. So it is super, super stressful. But once you actually get on, and having the opportunity to go on and present my mom's doodle to the world was something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And you can't sell that many products in 4 minutes anywhere else in the world, as far as I know. So that was really a monumental thing for us that gave us some financial stability and helped put us on the map, really.
That's so exciting. I love that, because so much of your business, it really does come back to the story and the connection with the story. And it's a really great example of the power of story. In my journey, I've been really studying what makes a marketer persuasive, what makes, what drives the purchasing decision, which is an emotional decision. And yes, we humans, we just need story. Like it's not even that we like it, it's that we require it. And in fact, we live by it. And sometimes we live by stories that don't serve us.
A lot of times.
But the power of story is really, truly tremendous. And it's not so much about your mom. And this is one of the big things that I really learned. It's not so much about your mom and the doodle, which was really, really incredible. It's what people hear in themselves.
Yes.
Right. It's what reminds them in their own life about love is all you need, or in their own life about having a message in plain view, or it really just brings up those emotions. So it makes sense that giving you a platform where you're obviously an expert storyteller. So, and I think sometimes when we are starting out in our business and everything like that, we recognize the importance of story, and we recognize how important it is to have a personal story that others will resonate with. But we give ourselves a hard time because it's clunky and it doesn't come out right and it doesn't sound all that exciting and blah, 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 right? So just watch what Dane did. And Dane, how long have you been telling that story?
9 years. 9 years. So it happened,
practice, folks.
Yeah, it happened 9 years ago, and I wish I had a video from maybe that first show when that couple tattooed it. I would love to hear exactly how I told the story then, because I think it was a little more. I mean, it happened the way it happened, but the way that it's delivered and being in front of thousands and thousands and then millions of people on QVC, being able to like figure out the best way to get someone to understand this, because. And this probably happened with you the first time you came up to my booth. I mean, you're looking at this, there's a banner of this, and there's a bunch of jewelry with this. And it's like, what is this symbol? Like, what is happening at this table, And so what is the cleanest way for me to first off, catch their attention by just saying, you know, it's the same design on everything and it's every letter of the alphabet and every number. Just boom, right out of the gates. They're like, and then I loop back and there's just a way to tell stories where it's just concise. And this is something that people haven't seen before. And I think maybe at the beginning, I would maybe talk a little too much. And that's a problem that I see a lot is you're so excited and passionate about what you do. And the other person, I mean, people they have short attention spans. And when you're coming with this emotion and you kind of bounce, like I was doing this and you bounce around, like, and once you lose the person, like they're done. Even if you're at a networking group, like their eyes glaze over and like they're lost. So it's really important you can even look at people's facial cues as you're perfecting your story in what do their eyes light up on? When do they start like nodding their head or turning it sideways because they're legitimately listening to you, trying to learn? Or when are they kind of just staring at you with like the And then like you know, I've heard of it before with some of my coaching is, you know, everybody's business or their service is their dolphin, right? And everybody loves their dolphin and everybody loves to talk about their dolphin. And when you have business owners together, it's like, well, this is what I have going on. And they almost don't even want to listen to your story because they're just thinking about telling you their story. So it's key. And like you said, with stories go back for millennia, right? It's ingrained in our society, in our history. Like stories are what we thrive on. To really get down, perfect that, make it intriguing, get a hook in there. But gosh, it's got to be concise. It really, really has to be concise. And even them wanting more. I mean, when I tell the 1.5-minute story, as I babble on right now, when I tell a 1.5-minute story, like the people will then come, they can ask more questions about like, oh my gosh, and start talking about, I'm going to get this for my sister because she's getting married. She can give it to all her bridesmaids gifts. Or my mother just got diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm going to get this and trace out you were a survivor. Like it gets really in depth.
Well, and that's when they take over on the story.
Totally. It's
right?
Their story.
Because if I'm breaking down what you do, and I have to do this because this is the engineer, the nerd in me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's process here, folks, right? There's you open with attraction and fascination, right? Yep. That curiosity, and it's before you've even said anything. You know, it's seeing the picture, you know, on your shoulder behind you, or it's coming into the table and seeing all the baubles and everything, and then there's like this question that gets resolved right away at the height of that fascination. Oh, this symbol has every single letter and every single number in it.
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of get that itch scratched a little bit. But then when you're talking about the origin of the story, it's probably in response to somebody saying, oh, that's really cool. And they might even ask you the question, how did you come up with that? And then it's the perfect segue to that 90-second story.
Totally. And then popping it over and like showing the K, the way their eyes light up. I mean, 9 out of 10 people like, oh yeah, I see it, you know, and then you know,
more discovery, more fascination.
They're going on the journey with me. And, you know, it's been really cool as we've been able to grow and had kind of this symbologist thing come into our lives, seeing other people take our story and turn it into their story. Has just been amazing. And that's something that's growing right now and that we're kind of experiencing and along for the ride. And that's really, really, really cool to see people take it, interpret Zymbol how they want to interpret Zymbol, and then give it to their communities in regard to that. And all these people are then wearing Zymbol and thinking about the person that introduced them to Zymbol, right? Like no one's thinking about my mom at that point. It's about the person that they learned about Zymbol from, which is really a cool way to go
That's
about.
Really fascinating that how you've basically taken, so just, you know, for context, so it sounds like you've shifted off the QVC. Have you completely shifted off QVC and now you've moved into more of a direct sales kind of a model? Yeah.
So I've been on QVC over a dozen times. Like I said, we bestseller, it was great. But like I was saying earlier with the story, the ice is thin over there, right? With those, because the one thing about those purchase orders, when they come through, if it is for 20,000 pendants and you go on live TV after you've already put all that product out and something happens in the news that day, so people aren't watching and you don't hit your numbers, you're done. Like Scary. They will, whatever you sold, they'll pay you for, but then they just send everything back and all of a sudden you have 20,000 pendants sitting in a warehouse. So as the purchase orders got bigger, we had a bunch of different buyers we were like, okay, we've had people for years ask us about getting involved with selling Zymbol, because when you're wearing it and people are asking about it and, oh my gosh, that's so cool. We wanted to come up with a social selling way where people could then have their own Zymbol business. So it's what I alluded to earlier. People sign up with us now that we call Zymbologists. And then Zymbologists are able to take our story and turn it into theirs and really kind of start their own Zymbol business. Although it's been what we've found now, we just launched like 8 months ago. It's really been more of an enhancement to people that are already doing something, whether that's an author, a coach, or a speaker, because in their message, if somebody wrote a book on goal setting, for example, and they speak on it, when they're talking about it, yeah, they have their book in the back of the room, but at the same time, they could have Zymbol and then be teaching people to use Zymbol on the messages that they are teaching themselves. So it's this, not only another product to sell, but it's this way for them to stay in front of this person, because every time they look down and see their Zymbol, oh, that was when I saw Amanda speak and she's talking about my word of the day. Like this is Amanda's reminder to me type deal. So yeah, that's been a really fun thing for us to get started. We're proud of what we're building so far.
And, just talking from a business strategy standpoint, because that's a lot of what we talk about in the Crush method is, what is strategy? That's actually the S. And for those that are new to the Crush method, and Dane, I don't know if I've even explained this to you, the Crush method, there's a message hidden in plain sight. Clarity, perfect. Repeatability, urgency, strategy, and helpful, always helpful. And those are the 5 principles of the method. And the method framework is really, really basic as well. And this is just a perfect example of the Crush method hard at work, which is essentially in business, what you need to do is meet people, talk to people genuinely, have real fit conversations so that you can then coach, right? Or deliver whatever it is that you're doing. And, I think sometimes we so hyper engineer things, right? Like thinking back to your business plan from 9 years ago, it was probably quite a lot of work to build out the hypothesis to the extent that you did.
Very much so. Confusing and just not without just like getting out on the front lines and just doing. And then the card that I showed earlier, execute, right? Like come up with a plan and execute on it immediately. I mean, you don't want to just keep on thinking. And the longer that you put something off, the bigger of a project that it can become, and that's something I think even if you're successful, that you struggle with that daily on the executing and not overthinking and being a perfectionist and everything like that, no matter if it's selling jewelry, being a coach, anything, you just really got to put things into play. And I love this scientific method. I think I'm going to take that from you and start.
Hey, go for it. I was not the one to come up with a scientific method. Really? No.
Relating it to the way you did it specifically.
Yeah, I did that. No. but it's just such a great point that, that simplicity of just get into execution. And I think when we developed the Crush method, it was really because in the marketplace I've really seen this hyper complexity of everything all the time. And I actually did an impromptu live yesterday all about essentialism. Have you ever read that book?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. Greg McEwen, you have to. I've been telling everybody about this. I should let Greg know that I'm like totally giving him free promotion here. But the idea is to keep things really simple, right? And to get into action and get results and stop trying to pull ourselves into so many different directions. And I think that's part of what is so appealing about the Zymbol as well is that it's actually quite deliciously simple. But that's part of what makes it so effective.
Yes. And I think going back to like the story, like in saying to someone for the first time, this design contains every letter of the alphabet and every number, that is not necessarily simple because it doesn't make sense. But then as it's told and it finally ends up in the place where, so when you wear or gift this design, it can mean or represent any message that you want. All of a sudden it's like, oh, and that is simple, right? Oh, this is my little daily inspiration.
Really attached to that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And so, I took a little pause there to talk about what Crush stood for those that are new in the community. And just so you know, Dane, so
Yes.
strategy we define as the decision making that we make about the finite resources that we have to get the maximum possible outcome.
I love it.
Right.
Yes.
And so what I've noticed about your shift in strategy over the years from what you've shared here is you really figured out the role of story with your product.
Yes.
And how important
Absolutely.
that was. So when you took that step from going from QVC to direct sales, the one thing that I see being continuous there versus going to the retailer model
Totally
is the story, the ability to connect to that story.
Yeah. And we, even like on the back of our cards, there is, I mean, it's not the full story, but there's a part of the story. And when we went into retail, we had point of sale displays that had a little video with us telling the story. The problem is like people aren't pressing that button and we're competing with other products on the shelf. So in theory, and this goes back to the scientific method, like, yeah, we can go into retail stores and then we'll have our story on the back of the card and we'll have a video so people can just learn the story. But that's not a vehicle that gets our story, which is an emotional connection enough where someone can hear it and get it tattooed an hour later or start, crying or get goosebumps when they hear it. That's just not going to happen on a retail shelf. It kind of reminds me of this one story. I was doing a show and it was an older lady was kind of standing back behind the table, like looking at it. Cause sometimes at vendor shows, and I think everyone knows this, like you don't necessarily want to go to someone's table. You're like, think you're committing to buy something from them or something. Like people kind of
anybody done that?
I've
kind of the looky lurker, not like, really going to commit.
I'm just looking. This lady was doing it, just staring. And finally, and I'm not trying to out there be like, hey, step right up, come get this. If someone comes, then I'll tell them the story. But finally I was like, so this design, has every letter. No, she came up to me and she was like, what is this? And I told her the story and she started crying and she had only seen a J and a K in there. And her husband of 60 years had just passed. And that was his initials. And so when she saw Zymbol, like that was the only thing she saw. And
just the J and the K.
That was it. And we hear that all the time. Like people will come in, they'll be like, yeah, my name starts with an N. And like, I saw the N or I saw the M, or it's just like, it's kind of funny how people can perceive it, right? It's kind of inspiration through perception, right? It's how you perceive the design is the message that will resonate with you. And I've got those stories for days and days that could go on and on. So that's been really special.
So powerful. So Dane, I'm having like so much fun. I want to ask you kind of a harder question.
Let's do it.
So you've been in business for the last 9 years.
Yes.
And you've seen some. Can you share with us maybe some of the harder moments, or maybe one particularly harder moment? And what was the moment, and how did you persevere? How did you come out the other side of that? What was the thing that kept you on this 9-year journey? Because small business owner statistics, like we all, I think, know what those are. It's just the odds are not great, and this is the very magical, special product, but this is really phenomenal what you've been able to do. So I am curious though, like what's maybe a darker day? What sort of seeded that? And then how did you manage to stay in?
Yeah. And I wish I was coming up with something that we hadn't already talked about a little bit, but I am going to loop back to the wholesale thing, because that was a decision to go from like very limited budget to we're starting to sell some products to like, I am making the decision. So I run it with a family and we have a few other people, like we are going wholesale. And I mean, to go set up at Dallas Market Center is like $5,000, right? To go to Atlanta's $7,500. Like it's not like I'm doing a little arts and crafts show. If you want to go wholesale, it is all in. We had to change, retail packaging, retail displays, catalogs, just all that stuff. Huge financial investment. And it straight up just didn't work. And that was bad. Like that was at the time I felt like I was putting all my eggs in that basket and I knew that it was going to work. And when it didn't, super demotivating, financially really, really bad. But we had already been to the point where that couple had gotten a tattoo, and that we'd been selling face to face. Like I knew, like I know now, how cool Zymbol is and how special it is that we have this doodle from my mom, and the stories from, you know, all ages and all walks of life, from little 9-year-old kids to athletes to breast cancer survivors. Like I've just always had that. I've seen it and I know it. So it just was I know this is going to work. That was a bad idea, and we need to pivot now. This is going to work. We are not gonna. I sailed to Zymbol Island a long time ago and burnt the ships. And it's trust me. And like I said, I'm failing my way to the top. Even today now, like with marketing and using the online strategies, that's just a moving target for all of us, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. And we essentially started a new business with moving into direct sales, right? We're done with QVC. We're starting from scratch.
It's a completely different model.
It is. So it's all of a sudden it's like, all right, here we go. Now we're building from scratch again. But like, I just know through the work that we've done and the people that we've touched, what Zymbol is and what it's going to be. You know, our intention is to impact millions of people's lives in a positive way. And I know I just know it's going to happen. I don't know why, but I know it's going to happen. I always knew it was going to happen. So when wholesale went down, like we got some more money and found a way. And the next thing that happened was QVC. It wasn't the next day, but we got that
next strategy
soon after. And then I was on QVC, you know, within a year, and look where that's taken us. So, you know, we don't always jump from peak to peak in life, right? We're always going down in the valleys. And I don't know who was that said it, Thomas Edison, I think, that if you really want the true formula to success is to double your rate of failure, which always resonated with me. Like, just, that means you're trying more, and soon enough, like, things are going to stick and work out. So I would say that now, yeah, there's little fails all day, every day though.
And that, you know, that so resonates as well in my own coaching business journey. You know, I left my corporate position I started this journey about 2 years ago. And what really resonated with me, and I'd be curious, you know, those that are watching, just let me know if this resonates, but this knowledge that it works, that coaching works, the experience of being in powerful coaching conversations with people that were transformative, that they really did change something, right? And then the days where it's like, well, I don't know if this is going to work, or if anybody values it, or I don't know, you know, if this marketing plan is going to work, or, you know, how many promotions have I done that were just like, you know, like they just,
most of them for us.
They didn't work, but they provided a lot of learning, and there's always something that you take from those experiences. And I so loved your metaphor of, I took the ship to the Zymbol Island and then I burned the boats.
Yeah, I mean, there's no plan B, right? It's you got to really plant your flag. And you know, we do
burning some boats. Leave a comment if you're gonna burn some boats this year, and just go for it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's kind of the only, you can't have one foot out the door. We have a program where every quarter we go into a children's hospital, and we make these pendants out of acrylic. And then with the pendant, we go in, we let the kids pick out their favorite color. With the pendant, we give them a workbook where they'll trace out their inspirational messages. So it's kind of similar. We have this journal where every week for a year, people can trace out a different inspirational message. So the kids get something really similar to this. And I mean, it could be that they're tracing out strength, gratitude, family. And the first time I went into a hospital, this one kid traced out, never give up, you were a warrior. And like, we didn't know how it was going to go. Like, well, are the kids going to get this? Are they not going to get it? And like, when he traced that out on some blank symbols, it was like, all right, you know, that was pre wholesale, but this is resonating with the grandma that saw her husband's initials to the 9-year-old kid that's in a battle right now, who's using Zymbol to never give up and be a warrior. So when stuff like that happens, like that's just it, right? It just builds up that confidence in what we're doing. And I'm sure there's many failures ahead. And we, like I said, with the direct salesman, we just started 8 months ago, right? That's a daily struggle to get the word out and connect. And because we're looking for people that are actually intentional, that they get it, right? We don't, the blingy jewelry thing that you saw for me first, like that's not what we are. Like we're a concept. So we're trying to attract the right people. And it's a struggle, right? It's tough. It's not all bells and whistles out here and monkeys dancing with toothbrushes. It's real life.
This is real life. And, you know, I'm sure folks that are watching can probably connect to and relate with the frustration that can sometimes come up when you have this really inspirational product, right? For you, it's Zymbol. For us, it's coaching.
Yeah.
This thing that really has this potential to shift and change lives, like really transform, really, really meaningfully. I mean, I'm choking back tears about that 9-year-old kid. Like, I just can't even imagine what they were going through, but the kids get it, right? Like, you're a warrior, don't give up. Totally. And it can be frustrating sometimes talking, you know, we do in the coaching model, we do a lot of complimentary sessions, for example, and we really hear real stuff in those sessions about what people want to change and where they want to go. And then often we get to the sales conversation and then it's like, oh, well, you know I've been miserable living my life like this and I need to change it and I want to, but I'm waiting for a tax refund, or, but, you know, I got to change XYZ first, or, you know, all the excuses kind of come out for not pursuing that change and really embracing it. And, you know, when you're very connected to wanting the best with people, it can be really frustrating. And I think finding those right people, like that's the whole game in marketing, isn't it? It's all about connecting message and product with ideal customers and facilitating that communication connection so that they can find each other and do the work.
Yeah, those, I mean, the people that aren't they're just not the right person. And, you know, the generic statement of, you know, one no means you're closer to a yes. I have people all the time, like I will tell my story at a show and then someone will just be like, oh, I don't get it, or that doesn't make any sense, you know, and that's fine, right? That's not my customer. And it's kind of funny. I try not to do this, but you can almost judge when someone comes up to the table. Like, is this person going to be into my love is all you need doodle? It'll be like a big burly man or something. It happened to me kind of recently in this guy. And I just thinking to myself, like, I'm going to tell him the story, but I don't think it's going to work. So as I'm telling it, he's just like staring at me. When I showed him the K and everything, like no emotional reaction. And then like kind of right when I was done, I was like, so that's it. And he was like, that's amazing. And he loved it. He just showed like nothing. And I was like, oh yeah. And this guy ended up being like the head of Boy Scouts in Central Texas. And
what?
The Boy Scouts ended up licensing Zymbol. I have a patch right here. They licensed Zymbol. And so when the kids went to camp this summer, if they found the 12 Scout Law hidden within Zymbol and they had a little workbook, they earned the badge. Like, who would have thought of the fact that Zymbol, out of everything that we've been talking about, would have been licensed by the Boy Scouts, or this guy that I talked to that I was like convinced I was just wasting my time, would have facilitated that, you know, like you really do never know, right? Like it's
you really do never know. It's so good. That's so good. Because, you know, when I'm working with folks, and I had to work on this myself as well, it's really tempting to pre-classify and prejudge people kind of ahead of time based on their demographic. I hear this all the time. It's like, actually just yesterday, I was coaching somebody about this. You know, how do I find people who want to pay me the money? Right. And it's backwards thinking that we're very accustomed to, because our brain really wants us to, like, getting into the neuroscience, our brain really wants to have like shortcuts. So that's where stereotypes come from, and kind of shortcutted thinking. So it's very normal human tendency to look for the shortcuts. Oh yeah, I'm just going to coach people who happen to have a lot of money. Or, oh yeah, I'm going to sell it to somebody who obviously likes to wear jewelry and, you know, maybe is like more feminine and things like that. Like, that's just the natural place that our brain goes. And the truth is, capital T truth, is that you can't take somebody's demographics or, like actually I learned recently that Facebook took off the ability to target people based on their income. And that's something that I would never do anyway.
I never did it either.
Even though my product is multi 5 figures to work privately.
Yeah.
It's not my place to prejudge somebody. And by releasing that and really cultivating that, I've had some really, really amazing, beautiful clients and wonderful relationships show up because I let go of the prejudging. And so, yeah, ditch the pitch, release the niche just for a second. Shows up, maybe it's this big burly dude with Boy Scouts. Like, we don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, no, and that's really cool to kind of feel that surrender, or whatever you want to call it, to just kind of being open up. And I've got a mantra every morning that today is not going to be like yesterday. Even though I'm proud of what I accomplished yesterday, like there still are those thought processes that might, that's that everybody's got it, and it's just going around like things that have just been ingrained in us that are negative, like I can't do that, or oh, this is the way this is. Like today's not like yesterday, and it's trying to just create that inner freedom. Really, I think would be the best term for it, of us just like letting go of that and really opening ourselves up to opportunities. And that's not something that everybody's heard that a million times, but sometimes it can be the messenger that actually gets that to resonate with you, So if anyone can take anything away from that, I really hope that opening up judgment and really kind of focusing. I think inner freedom is actually a really good Zymbol message to have, because it just encompasses like letting go of everything and being at peace with yourself and open to new opportunities and attracting the things into your life that you need.
I love that. I love that. So folks that have been watching, and if you're watching this on the replay, I want to know as well, what was your favorite nugget or takeaway from our time with Dane today? Just drop it in the comments. We've got a few minutes left, but I'd love to just report back live what people are really loving about your message, because of course you're going to be able to take that back, talk to your Zymbologists about what, these things, and use it to inform your stories for sure. I've really loved, Dane, your stories and your abilities here. And like I said, it's not a little deal what you've done. This is absolutely huge. It's very inspiring. And I'm just so excited that you took an hour out of your very busy schedule to teach us some things, not just about Zymbol, but also just about entrepreneurship and staying on the journey. And like I said, we've got very different products, but the problem we solve is very, very similar. So
yeah. Thank you so much for having me on that. It means the world to hear that. And I love any opportunity I get to tell the story, especially to you and your community of entrepreneurs and everything. So thank you.
Well, and folks, I mean, we have been talking about a pretty amazing product, and I hope that you've received just a absolute metric ton of value. So I'm going to drop in the comments a link to the crush.zymbol.net place that you can go check out some of the Zymbol jewelry. If it strikes you, then you're welcome to it. We're not doing a hard sell today or anything like that. But if you want to check it out, definitely do. There's a really great YouTube video. I personally love giving these bracelets to my private clients, particularly when they come and visit me in Dallas for a full day intensive. I just think it's a really great little move to have a welcome gift. And this is part of the welcome gift that I give people when they come and visit me. I've also gifted it to people that have been close to me on the journey, particularly in entrepreneurship. It just seems to really be a big hit. So you can just check out crush.zymbol.net, and I dropped that link in the comments if you're interested in just checking it out. And you can order through there if you'd like to buy any jewelry for yourself. You're super welcome to. Full disclosure, I am an affiliate, but again, not attached to what you do today, just really attached to you crushing it in your coaching business. And if this resonated with you, then you've got a next action if it's right for you. Hey there, thanks for tuning into this week's The Crush Method video blog. I'm Amanda Kaufman.
And I'm Chris Lavelle. We loved having you here.
Be sure to subscribe to receive more goodies in your inbox every week, and share with others you know who are eager to learn more about building their coaching and expert business.
And don't forget to leave a comment below to share your own experiences to inspire and lift others on this journey.
And check out our podcast on iTunes called The Crush Method Show so we can join you on your commutes and workouts.